Hey, what's going on? This is Fred Smith, and I just want to thank you for checking out this episode of Signal Clarity. And I wanted to go over some stuff with you today because a lot has been moving in my life, personally and professionally. So, if you've been following this channel for a while, you've watched me go through the journey of pretty much starting out of nowhere on the back end of some of these major gurus' businesses up until doing my own thing right now. And the cool thing about it is there's so much opportunity out here that we all can get after it. We all can make our money. We all can change the world. But I'm seeing something that's just missing in the marketplace right now, and it makes me sad, and that's trust. It's just so much opportunity out here. I was just in a meeting the other day, and these guys are making multiple eight figures. And the problem is there's still no trust in the marketplace. And because there's no trust, this is the reasons why things are breaking down right now. And if you don't know what this channel is about, I'm just going to tell you real quick. It's hard for me to compartmentalize my life because I love living life to the fullest. I'm one of the very few people who can actually be quote unquote left-brained and right-brained and still be able to see the entire playing field and make proper decisions strategically. And the channel's called Signal Clarity because if you've ever read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, then you'll understand that thoughts are things. Well, the problem with most people and the reasons why their businesses don't really grow and expand is because they don't understand that thoughts are things. So here's how most businesses go. If it's not already running, and if they're already trying to start something, then most of the time these guys are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, not realizing that what they have to do first is a lot of planning. They've got to get their solid foundation down. They have to be able to clearly articulate, identify, and express exactly the reasons why they're in business in the first place. Because this affects your advertising, it affects your marketing, it affects who you hire as employees, it affects your vendor relations, it affects your familial relations. Everything starts with the signal. That signal can then turn into a message, and that message can get put wherever your audience is. I didn't ask to be in lead generation. I just have great conversations with people who I haven't met yet. And I tend to do that through advertising and copywriting. That's what I do. But I've worked with enough business owners, experts, coaches, and consultants to know that the reasons why they're not getting the results that they desire is because their signal isn't clear enough so that their message can resonate and their audience raises their hand and go, yo, that's me. And the craziest thing about it is I'm always following up behind people who have already messed somebody else up. And I'm here to tell you guys, get in line. It's the way that it works. Business is tough. It's warfare. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it because even when I got out of the Marine Corps, one of the first words that I saw out here in the civilian world was the word campaign. And I'm just like, campaign? That's a military term. So we're literally using military high grade communication tools just to get somebody's attention these days. And you're wondering why you can't get a client or you can't get that customer acquisition machine up and running the way that you need to. It's because now I'm not the only one who knows this stuff. And again, a little bit about me, I was trained professionally in the Marine Corps to do this many years ago, back in 1996. And then prior to that, I actually did door-to-door sales for several years. I was that guy who was knocking on your door, selling books and magazines, getting points for college. I was that guy. So then I got into the Marine Corps. I learned all of this high level stuff. I was number one in my whole battalion for Marine combat training. Got a like meritorious service medal for some crazy stuff. And the craziest thing about getting a meritorious service medal is that it's typically reserved for like captains and above, which is '05 and above. Or if you happen to be enlisted like me, you usually get it like if you're like a first sergeant or a sergeant major. It's so rare to get as like a sergeant, yet alone anything else lower than that. But I got. And I'm not saying that to impress you, but just impress upon you that I'm pretty good at what I do. And one thing that I've learned over the years is that your signal has to be crisp. It doesn't matter how many people you're trying to get under you. If you're a boss, it doesn't matter what kind of ads you're trying to run on whatever platform. If your signal is not clear, you're not going to attract the right people into your ecosystem. And that's what I'm here today to do, is to really shatter those myths and help you really understand that somebody really cares about you out here in the game. And why do I care so much? Because I got kids and I want to see my kids grow. You know, the biggest problem that I'm seeing out here is that education is lacking in all aspects. And as a result of that, it's the reasons why we need coaches and consultants and experts. And I'm talking about real experts, because ironically, around 2012, I saw this phenomenon online where these kids learn all of these different tools and they were hacking and all of this other stuff, right? But I knew at some point in time that that stuff would wear thin. And now I'm seeing the same people who have learned all of these techniques and tactics now trying to pivot when in fact they were part of the problem. And here's the thing about it. Everybody has a chance to, at this point in time in life, regardless of whether you've wasted tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars a month in advertising and marketing, for the first time in human history, we have a chance to really get our signal down in a way that's never been done before. So if you've ever, as an example, looked on, or you went to go type into ChatGPT or Perplexity a question, and all of a sudden you see somebody mentioned, well, that's what I do. I help people get mentioned to say, hey, this is the expert, or here's the answer to your question, and here's a particular person or company that can help you out. That is something that is still new. I've been doing it for close to 4 years now. I have special software that I usually give my clients as far as helping them grow and develop their own messaging so that by the time we get together, it's definitely spot on. And then I go behind the scenes and I speak the language of the machines, and I also speak the language of human. And in between is where the results happen. And that tends to show up via SEO. It's not dead. Matter of fact, it's alive now more than ever. You just got to be really good and compliant in order to get not only ranked, but also with AI so that you can get mentioned. And this is the problem that your local guru or these guys online will not tell you. I'm seeing the ads ran in real time. It's a lot of misinformation out there, which is why I have a book, and it's just a paltry $3 for you to actually understand exactly how the game is being played right now, and quite frankly, how it's probably going to be played in the future. Because gone are the days of grifting. Yeah, I'm so thankful for that. Unless you're like a really entry level non-business type person, you still may get caught up in that. But most of the clients who I deal with, I mean, I've had 10-figure clients. Okay. I got multiple 6-figure clients right now. I got multiple 7-figure clients right now. It's all the same stuff to me. Can you get your signal down in a way where the market can understand you? And keep in mind, I don't always want to talk about business because the signal not only just works in your professional life, but also affects your personal life. So, as an example, when I'm working with my clients in particular, I always ask them, where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? That's a really good timeline because that's going to set up the way that your business moves. It doesn't matter whether or not you have a brand with 800 employees or if you're a solopreneur. It's a very fundamental question because that's going to help us identify and craft and shape a signal that's in alignment with not only who you are, but where you want the business to go. So when we get to that point, it's just like hockey. Like you want to go where the puck is, right? It's no different in business. And I just cannot understand why this is so hard for people because I'm used to getting results. I was in the automotive game for a long time. I'm still in it. It's kind of like I just talk to select people. But for the most part, a lot of the shifts and changes that you're seeing in the marketplace came directly from me working with even those large advertising companies at that level. So I'm one of the very few pioneers who has come from behind the scenes to tell people who are just starting to figure out how advertising and marketing and messaging and course creation and e-com and whatever else you got going on. The bottom line is if your signal's broken, people can't find you. Okay. The other thing I want to say is that I also play on a super high collegiate level now. I actually help do marketing and advertising for a very well known business administrative school in LA. So I'm playing at a collegiate level now because the whole goal is to give you practical tools that really work based off of fundamental principles. So it's not just Fred sitting here just saying, hey, I got an agency because I didn't even want an agency, quite frankly, but I'm just pretty good at what I do. I'm very technical, but I also got a heart. I'm a human being. I know what it's like to lose a lot of money. I know what it's like to make a lot of money. I know what it's like to be in compliance, and I know what it's like to have stuff shut down. But the whole goal is to take this experience and this knowledge and really get you to understand. But you got to believe first that there is a methodology that consistently wins. If you're able to wrap your mind around that, and let me give you an example. It's no different than like the street that you drove on today or the pathway that you walked on. You had real people who were sitting there with their tools. They had to survey the land, they had to survey the area, they had to use their special tools to make sure that those measurements were perfect and exact so that by the time the people who laid the asphalt down came, everything was leveled out the way that it needed to be. And they put the proper materials down there. They got the proper size. They got the proper how wide it's supposed to be, how long it's supposed to be, if it curves this way, what degree, what grade, all of this stuff, just so that you don't have to think about it and you walk. But that's how I think. The way my mind is just like when it comes to advertising and marketing on a super technical level, there's this one there's this one concept called programmatic, where literally if you're spending a minimum of $10 million a month in ad spend, it's a certain way that you have to think and move because if you start wasting ad spend at that level, it can get expensive really quick. So the way that my mind works is doesn't matter whether or not you're just starting out or if you're already playing at that level. To me, it's the exact same thing. We got to get your signal clear in a way to where even if you're just testing out the market, it's going to hit. And if it does fail, we can do a quick tweak versus starting all over again like most people do because they're gambling. And I know this because over the last several years, I've actually coached up more than 4,000 agency owners as well. So it's one of those things where I had people going, hey, Fred, I need to get this fixed, or I won't be in business in the next 6 months, or hey, Fred, this is the last money I've got, or I got to go find a job. And I'm just like, well, let me get this straight. You're doing lead generation, but you don't understand the basic principles of communication, and you don't really understand how a signal works, and you don't know what end market means or intent. It's a little strange, and I agree with you. The reasons why it's really strange for me is because I've mainly worked with nothing but 7 to 10 figure business earners up until 2020, and I had to get off the road, but I was working at a very high level in the automotive industry. A lot of the brand shifts that you're seeing, me and small teams actually did. So my wife got sick. Plus, we had the pandemic, so I had to just get off the road. And just like everybody else, it was like, okay, what next? But so it's not like I'm sitting here trying to like do answer engine optimization, because that's the technical term for it, or search engine optimization. It kind of fell into my lap, and I'm really good at it. My clients are really happy because a lot of stuff that I talked about a year ago is now here. And here's my prediction for 2026. It's going to get rough. Okay. What's happening right now in the marketplace is a lot of these data providers are using the same data over and over and over again. It's like 10 levels of brokered data that just is garbage. It doesn't work anymore. Then you also have certain providers like Google who have kind of shut their ecosystem down, and other people can't play with their data to train with it. It's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. And then SEO has also made a pivot as well. And what people don't understand about SEO is that it's very technical, and it's like 20 different verticals for starters in SEO, right? So you have to be able to understand not only, like I said, how the machines move, but you also have to understand how the humans move too. And this is the reasons why it's so important right now to be real now more than ever, is because platforms like YouTube and Google are looking for very unique, relevant content. So if you're trying to sound like everybody else, good luck with that. And again, admittedly, I've tried that stuff as well. I just speak very uniquely in the marketplace. I every once in a while will use a script, but for the most part, I'm just Fred because I just been doing this for so long that I just know that the whole goal for me is to get people to really reach and ask questions, because questions are the answer. But we have to make sure that those questions are tight, they're well thought out, so that way you can really get the results that you want. I don't know a lot in this life. People tell me I'm pretty smart. I'm just pretty good at business because that's what I was doing for a long time, was just really helping people grow their businesses no matter what. And I'm still thankful and fortunate enough to be able to do that, because there is a very specific process to that. So if you're with me this long, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your time. And the whole goal is for us to really develop a real relationship. I don't really have a lot of time to get out here and actively like market and pitch people. I remember when I was, during 2020 and beyond, yeah, I had plenty of time to do that because nobody else was doing things as well. But now that I'm actually actively, working at a college as well, at business college, as well as helping people out who are in my agency, the whole goal of this channel is to just give you the best information that I can, so that you can make very intelligent decisions as to your future. Because quite frankly, we have about 23 months before this window for answer engine optimization like goes away. It won't be impossible to get your brand like noticed and recognized, but as fast as AI is moving, and I know because I'm still on the back end of some of these high end crazy, I got friends in some crazy spaces right now all over the tech side of the online industry. And the whole goal is to just give you the shortcuts of what's working right now, because you do need shortcuts. Shortcuts are legitimate provided that you can get the result. And that's really how I work with my clients on doing that. It's just like, look, there's a certain way you got to move online. Step one, do this. Step two, do that. Step three, do that. I go through that in my book, which is the reasons why it's just a measly $3, because I want to make sure that people get the right information without gouging them. Because quite frankly, it's hard. I burn through more people on the back end probably than anybody else, because they think that they know it, but they're too much on page 10 when you literally have to be on page 0 these days. And it's called zero-based clicks. So you can read about that more in the book, but the whole goal is to really get you educated so that you can understand exactly what you're up against. Because look, I understand people get burned, things happen. My wife will tell you I've wasted so much money, just really being out here in this crazy marketplace. But again, it's totally possible to still get out here and accurately get mentioned and get listed so that you're able to really start attracting your ideal audience. And that's the whole goal of this particular channel. So again, we're going to be talking way more than just the technical stuff. I like to speak from the heart because, again, life is short. There's a lot about me that I will talk about on this channel. But the whole goal is to really just let you know that as a holistic thinker, this is how I'm able to really see trends before they happen. But also, I'm very technical to understand how to turn that wrench in a way to where the results are principle oriented. They're relatively evergreen. I will hit a trend every once in a while just because you want to be able to do that for just relevancy on certain things and engagement. We'll go into that later. But for the most part, I'm a good old fashioned old school. I like to be very boring in what I'm doing, very predictable, because that's how these big corporations do it. And unfortunately, a lot of people shouldn't be looking at these big corporations simply because they've been doing it for a long time and their tools and their skill sets are completely different. So the way that I teach, the way that I train is just based off of evergreen, like natural law practically. And the whole goal is to get you to get your confidence up so that you can turn the wrench. It's one thing for me to do it. It's another thing for me to teach you how to do it so that it's in your DNA. And the whole goal is for you to really get out here and change the world. And that's really what I'm about. So thank you so much. Welcome to Signal Clarity. Here to help. Happy to serve. Peace.